What's going on, everybody? Mammoth Metal here. Thought I'd make a little video on music theory today because in this channel it's supposed to be for gaming and music theory and just chit chat and this, that, and the other. So I wanted to make a quick little thing because I play guitar and I was playing today and then it just like something dawned onto me and I was like, oh man, I'm so glad I know how to do that because now I can do this. Excuse me. So what I was talking about is like in the description and what the title is understanding chords and the notes that make them up and the importance of why you should understand them and why you should practice them. So a lot of people that I used to talk to, for me starting off, let me just use myself as an example. I used to do a lot of tabs, so I'm going to bring this over. Here's some easy tabs in standard tuning. Should be E, A, D, G, B, E. It's in the key of A minor with no capo. This is Fade to Black by Metallica. I started out playing Metallica and I tried like The Trooper from Maiden and Raining Blood from Slayer and things like that. And that's where I started. A lot of people are like smoking the water. So I remember Back in Black. Kryptonite used to be one of my hardest songs to play by who's that? Three Doors Down. Yeah. It used to be really hard because I didn't I forced myself not to learn chords so I could just keep playing tabs. I was like, I don't want to play chords. So I'm telling you, play chords. Don't just learn tabs. So here's some tabs. So Fade to Black. Um, Here, actually, let me pull Fade to Black up too, if I can. Just put that over there, just in case. You never know. Fade to Black. Oh, I don't think I can play that on stream. Well, everybody knows Fade to Black by Metallica. If you don't, look it up. But you should understand this if your guitar is in standard tuning, which I'll talk about. But they just would look at this and learn how to play. So what I'm saying and what this video is about is what is this note and this note? What is the letter that make for that number? What letter are they playing? And why it's important to know what that is along with this, like the E A D G B E. So I highly recommend, and I did this for everybody as well, because I used to get stuff sent to me from to Amazon and stuff. So highly recommend you guys picking up a book. And these are all from Amazon. So guitar fretboard that might be pretty good. I'm not sure. Music theory, just a really basic one. I have like 6 books. I was looking for them in here and I couldn't find the exact one. Oh, I have this one. This one right here. This is actually a really good one, and it'll tell you about all the different kinds of music too. So it's like what jazz is made of, the chords for jazz, the chords for metal, what kind of tone, like the key they're in, and like the moods they do. And that's right now I'm kind of having some brain farts for that, but I've read these books and I'm telling you this is a good one. This is actually a really good one. This is where I got into learning about free music, and that's just like where you play notes using like no like there's no direction. You just play random notes randomly. So it's just like just hit wherever you want with a band, and the singer just sings anything. And it is a style of music. You can look it up. It's in this book. It's actually really good. It's a good book, but that's a good one. So I wanted to show you that. And then this is the chromatic scale, and a lot of the times it's going to be shown um like this. This is how I wanted to draw it. Initially had a circle, but it's going to be like it's going to be this like circle, and that's going to help people with key. This is how I was going to draw it down here, C and all that, but that's going to help with the key of things. And that's when you get into like flats and sharps. If you play a song that has no flats or sharps in it, you're in the key of C for that at that time being more than likely. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. And here's what we're doing. But I know it shows if you see like you're seeing guitar, like this is a guitar neck, that's a guitar neck. But then there's also a lot of keyboards. That's because like almost a lot of things use a chromatic scale. And I never knew how to play piano or keyboard or anything like that, but I learned the chromatic scale, and I feel like I could play the guitar part looking at like my guitar tabs and stuff, breaking it down, figuring out what the keys were, figuring this part out, like, oh, this is C, D, E, like figuring this out on the keyboard. I feel like I could do it as long as I knew where everything was, but I know how it ascends and descends, so I know these are all the flats and sharps up here, and I feel like I could do it. But yeah, there's that. So I was playing today, and I was playing something on my guitar, and like just imagine this is my guitar. Now we have E, A, D, G. That looks bad. B for bad, and E again. Little E for up here. This is the thin string. This is the thickest string. Um, it drives people nuts. I don't know how people look at it. I don't know how I number it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I usually play a lot of stuff down here in the heavier strings. I like a lot of hard rock and metal, and I usually don't even play in this tuning. This is just the standard. If you ever see this in your guitar, like when you walk into a guitar shop and stuff, in order to play like that's bad advice. I don't want to say that. E standard is the standard, so that just go to E standard. Like most guitars should be in E standard, so it's just like, hey, dude, put me in E standard, and then you should learn how to drop tune and things yourself. Like it's and then intonation and make sure everything's good, and you have to lock nuts and yada yada yada. We're not doing all that. Chromatic scale, standard tuning. This is the scale. So it goes just like down here. Here's E, so we're starting at E, like the big fat E. So it's E, F, F sharp G, G sharp A sharp B, C, C sharp D, D sharp, and then you go back to E. Not like back down here, but the next note you'll hit, wherever you end up, is going to be an E. This is going to say, we'll say this is E, and then it'll start again, E, F, F sharp G, G sharp or A sharp, sorry, B, C, C sharp D, D sharp. So I know that was a little confusing, but you can start that on any of these strings as long as you're in if you're in E standard, so that you have no sharps or flats, just to make it not confusing for off the get-go. But just wherever the string is, you just start that up here. So if you're at D, you know your first D is open, it's 0. So it's like when you just strum the string and just blung, that's open string D. That's that. So then the first fret is going to be a D sharp, and then the second fret is going to be E. We're going to go, back to E. So D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. So that's why it's important, like just learning all of them, so you can learn this. If even if I got rid of all of this, but I'm gonna leave it up for you guys. But I can literally block this out, and I should know what all of these are because I memorize that. You read the books and memorize it. It's super important to read the music theory books, guys. I'm playing around and just jamming. Yeah, like I believe in that. Jimi Hendrix taught himself. I believe in a lot of people taught themselves, and I've done that for a long time. And then I had, just free time, read up some books and stuff, and jammed a little bit in between. I just wanted to expand. It's really about the knowledge hunt, and I figured out how to play better, and I've really practiced more. And it's important to read those books. And it feels good when you find somebody that's like older and very knowledgeable, and then they don't really understand it yet. And I don't want to kind of sound like I'm rubbing it in their face, but if it's like the guy that you looked up to, and then you're just like, hey, did you know about this? And they're just like, oh, no, I actually didn't. It's like, man, I knew something he didn't, and it gives you that little bit of pride in there. So we're going to start down here at A, just for one last example. First fret is going to be A sharp, next one's going to be B, that's going to be C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and then so on and so forth. So a lot of the times too, you're gonna see flats. So as you can see, I don't have any flats up here. And that's because if you've noticed, every time I've been doing this, we've been going in this direction on the guitar. Here's the nut, and then up here you have your posts, and your tuners, your strings run down, and then all the way down here, you either plug in your jack for the electric, or you got the big old hole in the center of your guitar, yada yada, and that's where your bridge is at, where your strings run into. But if you've noticed, I have all sharps because we're ascending. We're moving up the guitar neck. We're going up the guitar neck, going from 0 all the way up to 24, 685 millionth fret or whatever, the 15th fret, 13th, 16th, 17th, anything. We're going up 0, 1, 2, 3. If you were going down, you would do flats. They're the same, like that's, and a lot of people get confused by that. They're the same thing. It's just some of these notes change. Like up here, this is going to be different, but they're still the same root note, like E, F, G, A. Those don't change. It's just they sometimes have those if you go down. And it depends a lot more too. That's when you start getting in a little. I'm getting just touching light on this stuff, guys. Really get some music theory books that's going to really help dive deep into it if you want to learn that stuff and invest time into it. But like sometimes you'll see on tabs and it'll only show sharps, and then even though sometimes it'll look like it's going down the neck, and you're like, why isn't that showing flats? It's like, well, what, that would get confusing if you just said sharps and flats and sharps and flats, and it depends on like the key and the mood of the song and which way it's moving and the majors or minors, and there's a bunch to it. Like if you're normally, like, this is what you're gonna see for the regular chromatic scale is it's made of 12 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then it starts over, so ignore that. So 12 notes. The other way around, it would just be like, let's say if we do have an E here, be like E, E flat, D, then it's D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, E. Believe that's right. E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B. Yeah, B flat. Correct. So if you were going down, that's all it is so if you're going up, take this, make it sharp. If you're going down, you would take this E and make it flat. So you'd have E flat here if you were in moving that order. D, D flat, blue, C, B, B flat. Burp, burp. There you go. That's all that is. So it's just important. I think it. Whoa, I didn't zoom in. Okay. Chromatic scale. Yada yada yada. Rewind and rewatch because I kind of messed this all up. That's all that is. So maybe we can start new file. New. Don't save. And I don't like this. I like to draw it on a. Yeah. Just looks better. I think it gives better contrast. So when you're fooling around on your guitar neck, let's just draw a couple lines for some strings. Really could have made this as big as I wanted. I don't. That was absolutely atrocious. Ah, ah! What am I doing? Wait, wait, wait. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Oh, okay. So what we're gonna do? Oh, we're not doing that. What we're gonna do? There we go. Let's do this. Do that, and then usually I'm kind of picky, so I don't know why I haven't been doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Bloop. Can I do it like this, or is it not gonna show up? Nice. No, oh, that's a bad one. We're not using that one. Oh my god, that's absolutely atrocious though. EADGBE. Okay. So say we see. Can I draw that? Oh my. Ah! I am so bad. So okay. Let me. I gotta keep doing this. Hold on, man. There's no way I can do that. So this is the nut. There's nothing here. This is just. This is the end of the guitar. So we're gonna go. Boop. And we'll just put as many lines, I guess, as we can fit. I'm not really worried about making them straight. And I'll make sure I put the little marker dots that shows the 5th and 7th and ninth and 12th and all of that where I get to. I can fit one more, it's not going to matter. So if this is 0, you never have one at 1 for some reason, but 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, and then 12 is always 2 dots. Then it skips 2 more, and it'll be at the 15th, which would be over here somewhere. So now we're gonna do this in like red or green, blue, red. No, something that's not hard on the eyes. So we're gonna say we have a well. I'll mark this in red down here. So we're gonna say 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th, 9. Oh, sorry about that. 12, the little loop. I haven't done a loop like that since I was growing up. So there we go. Now that's for the frets. So we're gonna say we have a song, and I'll write the song notes I'll put on here, like the little dash marks, the ticks, and then I'm gonna write up here what letter they are, and then hopefully that'll help us all out. So these are the for the frets. Just remember the red is fret. So let's say we have a song that opens 0. We're gonna say so it'll be like 0, 2, and 3. Or actually, yeah, we could do something like that. 2, 3. I'm just gonna label numbers, I think. Make sure we do these ones. There we go. And then maybe we'll just do one right there. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not their placement on the fretboard. That is not. This is obviously 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, but this is obviously not the 4th fret. So don't think of that. These are just the notes that we're going to be doing. We'll do 8 notes. These are the frets. Actually, shit. You never see this marked on a guitar. I always want it to be. I might even mark mine myself and put paint there. There's some that do have it up here where they have a dot, and I wish it would be, but it usually never is. So we're just gonna do these. So green, and we're just gonna go 1, 2, 3. I'm just writing them kind of sloppy on the side here. 6, 7, 8. And there we go. Blop, 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 bleep, bloop, blop, and bling, blop. Okay. So, what notes are these? If we know the chromatic scale, which was the EADGB, you know what I mean? EAD, no, 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 I'm sorry, that's the strings. That's S, E, F, F sharp G, G sharp A sharp B, C, C sharp D, D sharp, back to E again. If you can remember that, it's almost like a little rhyme, like just the alphabet. And there's a lot of things too that you can remember them. As you get later on, like I know every can't remember the string ones, honestly, but there's ones for like those little sayings that you have. But for me, it kind of helps to give it a little jingle when you do the chromatic scale. So if we know D and we're gonna put everything as ascending, no flats. So everything's sharp. D, this is the first fret, so what follows right after D? That's D sharp. So D sharp, bloop. Now we're on the A string. So what's after A if we're going up? Is there a sharp after or does it go straight to B? Well, when we check the chromatic scale, it's gonna say that there is a sharp right after, so it'll be A. First fret is gonna be A sharp. Oh, I should not have put that line there. Sorry, that'll be a little confusing. First fret is A sharp. Second fret is going to be B. And since we're right next to it, does B have a sharp? Or if, well, yeah, does it have a sharp? It does not. So 3 is C, because it doesn't have a sharp. There is no B sharp. So A sharp, B, C. And then we're going to go back up to the D string. So it looks like D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Now we're going to the G string. So we're going to go off of the scale again. G, G sharp. Sorry. And then it goes to A. Yeah, sorry. G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. And you get the gist of this. We can keep going if you guys wanted to, but you keep going. And that's how you start learning. Now, when you start figuring that out, that really helps a lot when it comes down to understanding tabs, chords, notes. This gets you on a whole new thing. I don't know how to read music, like real music. I don't understand that yet. Tabs is what I started, and then I read music theory, and I started learning how to build chords and understand what they are. So I can't really do the I don't really want to get into like the whole half, whole half. That's like it's a rhyme scheme almost for the chromatic scale. So if you wanted something, say you wanted something in the key of C, or you're wondering what are all the chords and notes that make up C? Or well, the chord is C. So what are all the notes that make up C? If I drew out the chromatic scale and I started at C, I guess I'll do it. I guess I'll do it because it is really important for just understanding stuff. This is going to help you understanding like how to build notes or chords. So C is easy because the key of C is there's no sharps or no flats. So it's just like it's like perfect for doing examples of I can't remember what they call it, but there's no sharps, no flats. So the key of C. But that's what this is in, but that's regardless. You know what I mean? What we're actually doing is the chord C. Or I should be right by this, by the way. Well, the chord C. And what are all the notes that make up all? What are all the notes that make up C? Well, if we do the chromatic scale again, so E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D, oop, D sharp, and then we'll be back to E again, because again, it's only 12. So if we count this out, there would be 12 notes. There's never a 13th note like that. So you as soon as you end on this one, you always go back to E. Go, that's how the next note will start. Say this is if you actually do that, if you start at 0 and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down on your guitar neck, at starting at E, when you get to the 12th fret, it'll be an octave of this. So if you hit open E, 12th fret E, open E, 12th fret E, it'll just be like da 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 da, but in key and in tune. Obviously, I'm not the best voice guy. So what I was talking about is how you build, I was building a major chord. So, or we're gonna say, I knew there was something wrong. Where's C? E, F, F sharp G, G sharp A sharp B. There should be C there. I'm not gonna be able to fit that, but maybe if we do something like this, and we connect all of this the best that we can, like that, and I can go like this. Link. Okay, so that's manageable. We can work with that. B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp. Okay, so we were doing the chord C, and what are the notes that make up the chord C? Bloop, C. So what we'll do, C is our root note. And then I can't remember if it's 1, 3, 5, 7. But anyways, the rhyme scheme that we'll be doing is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So if we start at C, what is a whole step up and a half step up from C? And when I'm talking about steps, they also, there's another way to say that too. I can't remember. There's whole step or there's whole note or a half note. It might be that or a whole tone and a half tone. But a lot of people say steps, notes, or tone. I think it is tone, honestly. But half step is, and then and a whole step is what always gone off of. So that's what I'll continue to use. So when they say that, um, this is a half step, moving one place. So either here or here. A whole step would be moving here or here. So if I was at G, half steps from G are these. Whole steps from G are these. If that makes sense. Just means like you're just skip one for a whole step, and for a half step you're counting each one. Because if you actually do the chromatic scale, it's like dun 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 dun. When you do a chord or like other ones, you're skipping notes out of it, and it's not gonna sound like that. This is like literally every note if you just played them, but all the way. That's not what that's not normal. Okay, so C. So what is a whole step up? If we're at C, what's a whole step up from that? Whole step up is D. So now we have D for our first W. So the next W, what's a whole step up from D? Well, that's going to be E, because we can't, that's a half. This is where we would be. It's going to be E. It's a whole step up, because we just skipped D sharp, that's all. We just skipped it and went to E. So that's our second W. Now we need to go a half step. So a half step up from E. Well, normally a whole step is where we skip, so a half is when we don't. It's going to be F. Whole, whole, half, and then it's going to be a whole, 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 half. Sorry, kind of talking out loud a little bit too. F, and we need to go a whole step. Put us at G, because we had to skip one. We have to skip another one. A, because we skipped over G sharp. That's pretty good G and A. I like those. They look kind of cool. Skip again. Oh yeah, we have to go whole step. So skip sharp. Go, we have to skip it over. So go whole step and go to B. And then a half step. And it puts us back at C. And these are technically all the chords or notes that make up the chord C. So when you are playing any C chord, no matter what the C chord is, because well, that's not true. But if you're playing the standard C chord, and it doesn't matter if it's a power chord, if it's the actual chord where it's 3, 2, and 1, if you know what I'm talking about on guitar when you use 3, 2, 1 on your fingers, ring, middle, and index, and you finger on the frets, first, second, and third fret. Or if you're doing the power chord version, which is on 3 and 5 for my power chord players, using A and D string. So anybody that's gotten to that point in their guitar skills that know what I'm talking about, no matter what, you're using these to make up C, because that is the chord, and these are the notes that make up the chord in the major scale. Now there's a bunch of different ways to build these than this whole half, whole half. This is the major scale. I think it's called G major scale or C major scale, but either way, it's I can't remember what that's called. Sorry guys, something major. It's the major scale. There's nothing gloomy about it's. This is the easiest one to do. Key of C, chord C. These are the notes that make it up. So no matter when you play it, if you're playing that power chord, and if you know what I'm talking about, I wish I had a guitar that I could show you, like an animated one that I could do right here. That's why I need a webcam. But that's where you use out of the bottom three strings, E, A, and D, your thickest strings. Your C power chord. Yeah, well, you can do it on any of them technically, so as long as you get to the right spot on the guitar, which is why it's important to know this. So A, first fret would be A sharp, then it would be B, and then C. So that's what I thought. It's going to be the third fret here and the fifth fret there. D. So let's do 5 frets up from D. So if we have D, it's going to be D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Yeah. Oh, I got this one up here. E, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Yep. So what this is doing when you're playing this C, it's using 3 and 5 when you're just using those, which is the root, which is R or 1, but it's really R. Just think of it as root is R because this is really your first. So, and then 5, your fifth one here. That's a power chord that you got. You got 1 and 5. See, or you see that, like how you build that to only make this thing that would make this a little sweeter is you could play this too, which would be that's the 1, the 3, the 5, and this is the seventh. So if you could get C, E, G, B, it's going to be fuller. Every time you play a note, you know what I'm talking about? That's why you play chords, is because when you play a note, any song wouldn't sound the same. If you play the most chorded out song and you just play just notes, if it's like this is the chord you play, it's a G chord, and this is how it sounds when I play it live, and you're like, oh, okay, so it's a G chord. Well, I'll just play the G note, and you just play just this note, which is actually the third fret on E. When you do that, this is it's not full. All you hear is G, so it's just like one dong, one G. But if you compare that G with whatever corresponds with its chord, the notes that build that chord, you can make it fuller, and that's why chords are a thing. So if we were going to do this C, actually that's good, isn't it? A G chord? Yeah, because 5, we have a G here, we have a G here, that can stay. Technically, that can stay. That's still part of the C. If you wanted it to be in that, you could still do that. You could do this. You could palm, or if you could fat finger the third fret on both of these, and the fifth there, and I believe the fifth up here. Well, let's see, E, A, D, G. It's gonna be G up here, and we need to get to the fifth. So that's G, G sharp A sharp B, C. Yeah, so the fifth up here is C as well. So really what you're playing when you do 3-3-5-5, you're playing G C G C. So you're just really coming on hard with these octaves of this G and this G are they're octaves of each other, just far away octaves, I'm sure. And then here's 2 more octaves. So it just makes your art fuller. Like when you're really doing just, like these tabs, and it's like some crazy stuff. not really crazy, but you get what I'm saying, guys. Whatever. That's I like that. I still use them. I'm not hating on tabs. I still use them. Not hating on them. I just like to know what these notes are now. So when I'm playing around, for instance, like when I looked up that fade to black, take that opening to fade to black. How does that go? Dang. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Bear with me. Yeah, that would be really hard to play. That's a fast tempo because I think it's like if it's the song I'm thinking it is. That would be hard to get that, but maybe like one from Metallica because it's just like the tempo's slower and the opening's just like da, 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 da. Like you could might be able to get that chords change if you slowed it down. So you could figure out whatever that note is, that first note, those first four notes in out of that song from one. Dun 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 dun. You can figure out what those are. Figure out what that note is. What and then figure out the chords that make up that note, and then you could play that chord at that point, and then do the same with that. Dissect it, play the chord. What's this one? Dissect it, play the chord. What's this one? Dissect it, play the chord. So instead of it just being da 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 da, it'll be like really full dun 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 dun, and you're gonna notice your playing skills are gonna you're gonna understand more. You're gonna be like, oh dang. So you're playing, you're making up your own music, you got your own tabs kind of thing. You have it in your head, you don't have it written out. You might record it or something like that. Just like using your phone, write it down on a piece of paper. I used to try all that stuff, all that stuff. But something I always had an issue with is how do I start the song and how do I end it? What are good transitions that sound good? What can I do that doesn't always lead me back to the same thing that I constantly keep playing? Start expanding this way, and you'll start getting into things that are just that'll blow your mind more because you're playing, okay, here's a good start. I'll play these basic notes starting. Then we can really punch it in at the on a chorus with these power chords and regular chords, and then we can even have some cool fadeaway breakdown stuff where I can arpeggio on these chords and really kind of slow it down, or really make if you can arpeggio quickly, you can make it fast and like speed it up into your solo, and then you start learning the solo and the box techniques and what notes make up what chords, and then you're like, these are the chords I'm playing, this is the key I'm in, and then I can start playing all the notes that make up this key, and it'll sound okay as long as I can get back to that. Like, I'm not all the way there yet at the end of what I was saying. I'm trying to get there. I've really been doing good with the improv soloing and making it work and everything sounding good and staying major and staying or whatnot. Even switching it up a little bit, but the main thing about this was me just I had a kind of a little brain thing today, and I was like, I should get on here and talk about music theory. Now, I'm sorry if it was a little confusing, but I hope you guys can understand that a little bit and why, like how you can build and figure out chords and make up notes and yada yada yada. Definitely look up the key is the absolute key is that word, the chromatic scale in any scales. So I guess the magic word of the day is scales. And they're only good if you practice. I'm just gonna put a P. Patience. And no, I shouldn't do another P, but I almost have to, man. Practice. I can't do it. All right, guys. With that, take care and happy guitar playing. Get back to me and maybe we'll do some more music stuff.